Hello everyone, if you are new to my channel, my name is Natalie McLeod. I'm a counselor and also certified in a new creative journal. This approach was created by Anne-Marie Jobin, an art therapist in Quebec. It is a personal journal where you combine 3 languages, writing, collage and drawing. You don't need to be an artist or you don't need to know how to draw. The journal is accessible to everyone. The aim of this approach is well-being. The list of supplies have been added in the description box below. In this video, I will be showing you ways to use watercolor paint in your journal. You don't need to follow the guidance completely. Work at your own pace. It is your journal. You may want to watch the video once to have an idea of what to expect. Other than that, let's not wait any further and dive straight in. I will be using an A4 size journal in the form of a sketchbook, as we use various mediums such as water-based supplies like paints or water-soluble pens. So the pages should be able to hold water. You may prefer a smaller size journal, like an A5 size, which is also fine. It always is good practice to ground ourselves before beginning, such lightly swiping the pages or taking some deep breaths. We're going to begin on the left page of our journal. We're going to make colourful pages like these. So for this, you will need your watercolour paint and watercolour paper. You only need half an A4 size paper or less. Then dab a little water on your page with a paintbrush. And that's where the fun begins. Dab a little paint of your favorite colors and look at the effect of those little dots blooming like flowers in the sun. Watercolor is not for everyone due to its unpredictable effect, but here we are only playing with color with no goals in mind but to make a colorful page. You may add a different color and watch for complementary colors so you don't end up with a muddy page. I wanted to make my paper a little brighter with this yellow. And here is one I made earlier. I ended up with brightly colored page I will be using in our journal. The next stage is to tear enough apart to place a stick person or a small silhouette on it. Then we're going to stick this little square on our page with some glue. The next stage is to draw a stick person on a separate piece of paper. You can draw a silhouette or cut one out from an already printed paper. You can find an array of examples online, just Google silhouette. Stick the silhouette on your square, then begin to journal. I'm using the follow a line technique, also in Anne-Marie's book. It is a spontaneous writing journal technique, allowing yourself to draw lines and curves on the page, following the movement of your hand and watching what arises in the moment, whether it's a thought or a feeling. And I'm finishing off by doing some squiggly lines. Then I felt led to wanting to stamp a butterfly on my page. Spontaneous writing is used in the journal to bypass our logical thinking brain, so we tap into our deeper aspects of ourselves, generally holding the answers we seek. This is another way you can use the idea. We expressed joyful feelings earlier, but we can also express more harder feelings using darker colors in our watercolor, also using illegible writing or superimposed writing, useful if we don't want people to read what we have written. You can also use marks or use symbols. You can express by adding more elements such as tears. All feelings are okay and need to be understood and processed. I wanted to free my little bird from this sad page. This is a good example of how the journal can provide us with some guidance that we can further explore by journaling more. Sometimes by cutting things out, you may be left with what was behind the page. Serendipity can often appear in these moments. So I decided to embellish this little gap left and bring flowers to my character's thoughts. And this simple gesture can have transformative effects, helping us change perspective. Now, on the right page, we're going to draw a vase. Examples can be found online. Take a little watercolour. After that, choose colours of your choice to paint your vase, taking your time. And this can be a meditative practice. We're now going to make some colourful watercolour paper. You will need paper that holds water. I'm using an A4 sketchbook pad, but you can use some paper. Then we're going to start painting like we did earlier with the vase, with slow strokes, enjoying the process, trying out various colours, and I chose vibrant colours here. The next step is to choose oil pastels or colour pencils because we're going to decorate our page with symbols of your choice. I chose flowers just because I love them. It's about not being perfect drawing with your non-dominant hand, making the flowers whimsical, childlike, because we are teaching ourselves to let go of all the pressures of our daily lives and connecting with our inner child. Once our page is complete, we are going to cut them out, being mindful of our fingers. I outlined my vase so it popped out a little using a felt pen. And I selected a poem called With Flowers by Emily Dickinson, one of my favourite poets. I chose this poem because it explores the themes of beauty, transience, and connection between nature and human emotion, the flower being a symbol of the fleeting nature of life and complexity of feelings. And like flowers, we too can embrace our fragility and fleeting moments of courage. Before we continue with our project, I wanted to show you what else you could do with our cut-out shapes of flowers. And here I'm making a garland, and this can be used for a gratitude page. Or you can randomly spread them onto your page and use it to celebrate achievements or new growth. Now back to our project, we're going to use acrylic pens or markers of your choice. Acrylic pens are smooth and glide onto the page, so I favour them for this reason. These are soothing to our nervous system. I would encourage you to take your time drawing the stems, and if you wish, you may add some leaves. The repetitive movements can be soothing, and you may finish off with colouring them in as well. Taking your time and taking some breaths in, always a good idea as well, and enjoy the process. We're now going to make a bouquet, placing the flowers on the stems all around. And if you're left with cutouts, you may want to place them in a box for future use. Or I also have a basket where I place all my leftover scraps from old projects. When you don't have time and want to be when you're on the go, this is very practical. And there are bits of paper napkins, scrapbook paper, magazine cutouts. And I'm also going to add my leftover paper flowers in the mix. And also what you can do with the little bits of leftover card is to make little tags. I added a stamp on this one and a quote at the back. You can slip this into your phone case, a pocket, in your bag or in your wallet. So I decided to cut some bees from scrapbook paper. And add them onto my page. Then why not stamp a few butterflies? Again, you may want to decorate your page as you wish, really. And stamping can be a soothing exercise also. After journaling some more, I added some alcohol inks, and there's a video for this, and I've added a link. You may want to use some gloves for this. Colouring in the flowers a bit more with acrylic markers. And once finished, stay with your page to absorb the new feelings. An alternative to this activity would be to cut out a single flower or shape, then perhaps stick it on a square piece of card which represents containment of feelings, and we would have expressed previously, the feelings we would have expressed previously, and I'll show you how. Use a white oil pastel and begin to write your thoughts on some paper that can hold water. This is particularly useful for when you have unexpressed thoughts and feelings that you would like to give a voice to. Writing away, putting all your thoughts until you feel done. Then we're going to paint over the page with watercolor paint. I'm using the Gansai Tambi paints because they have this magical effect of changing colors as you layer the paint, and I'm going to use the Aura Violet, a mixture of pink and purple, and see how this adds to the magic of those letters suddenly appearing. And not only is it soothing, but also satisfying to see your words take shape as though you had given them life. You may want to stick a magazine word to make a quote, or simply add some positive images. And I have used this method to make a garden, which I'll show you shortly. I used brown watercolor for this, then placed the ripped bits of paper into my soil, adding some scrapbook paper and bit of burlap for decoration. And it was a bit like a fertilizer, helping my flowers grow, a strong message of transformation for my journal, and an alternative to the vase activity we did earlier. The last activity is to paint a background onto your page, and then to journal or write favorite quote, affirmation, poems, or favorite book passages. I chose a quote from The Secret Garden, one of my favorite books, because it reminds us of our ability to make positive changes in our lives, to plant new seeds so our hearts can blossom again. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, be whimsical and see the magic everywhere you can. Bye bye.